Hey everybody, it's Strict 9 with Strict 9 GP, and it's tournament time for the UAB Blazers in the Conference USA tournament. So this episode of my playthrough with the Draft Day Sports College Basketball 2020, we're going to go through that Conference USA tournament and look at some other tournaments and see how the selections play out for the Final Four tournament. But in terms of this team, I'm just going to ride what we've been doing. We do have a bye week in the tournament, so that's going to be interesting. I kind of wish we had one more game to play in just to help, if we do get on a streak to help with that final record. But I'm just going to go with what got us 11 wins in the conference and hope that turns out okay. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, jump into it. The first round of games here, some good matchups in the tournament. You're going to see Western Kentucky, Marshall, I think is going to be a good matchup. Middle Tennessee, they have a chance, I think, to be a surprise team if you look at how they finish the standings. But if we look at the way the grid looks for the tournament, I'm not really liking our matchups too well because North Texas handled us, gave us really our worst defeat of the year in the last game of the conference schedule. So even though we split our series with them in the regular season, I'm a little bit worried about having to face them. They're a tough team. When I was looking at the history of this conference coming into starting out the season, when I took over this UAB team, they have been one of the bigger programs in this conference for probably the 6 seasons that I've been running the playthrough so far. So they may be a hot team when it comes to tournament time. I do not want to face them. I'd much rather have this bracket up here, either Florida Atlantic or Southern Miss, which we won. I think we only played them once apiece, but we won those 2 games. I think we beat Florida International, so that would be good. But man, we could be one and done really easily. But I'm just gonna go ahead. We'll sim through it and see what happens. Hopefully, like I say, I'm hoping that this turns out to be a good run for us, and we get hot. And if we do play North Texas, maybe we'll get some revenge. That would be nice. Either way, I think it's kind of like that last season with Penn State. We're going to lose 17 games this year. Not a great finish, not what I was looking for. So we're going to be playing North Texas. And if I look at how the games went, I guess they were tested in the second half, but a pretty strong win for them. Good shooting from them. Arrington, Wilson, those guys had some good games. Monroe, I'm pretty sure, is their center. He's had a good season. He's gonna be tough, I think, inside. Maybe gonna get us away from our inside game a little bit. See if they how they scout this, or how my assistant scouts it. So he's probably gonna give them the nod. Yes, 59-41, and it is center. And even bench. Our bench isn't that strong. I'll have to admit that. It seems like in most of the scouting reports, we're upside down regardless of what team we're facing, but almost every team has the advantage on the bench. And looking at some of their individual numbers, we're a better defensive team. You can see we're scoring less. We're giving up just a little bit. Like a point less per game than they do. They're a little bit better shooting team than we are. But man, we are so matched up against these guys. We're tied in rebounds per game. They're probably going to be a little bit better defensively if you look at blocks and steals, but I still know that we can beat this team because we beat them before. So let's just go ahead and get it going. Please, let's win this one. And we do. We sneak by. I didn't get to see the score, but we did win. We're 14-16 overall now. So that's going to be, that's as good as I could expect. And we're going up against Texas San Antonio, the best team in this conference this year. We beat them really easily, 76-63. Callaway, who has taken over for an injured player, Harrell, I believe, was the guy we lost at small forward. He had a good game. He's really looked good down the stretch. Plus 17 with 16 points, five assists. Horton, 8 rebounds, 8 points. Another good presence inside from him. Monroe, we held him. He was, easily rated better at center than our guy Daniels. But Daniels and Y looked like they combined to have a good game. Stewart rose from the outside. Good scoring from them off the bench. We didn't get much from the bench, but we held them shooting and went to the line a lot. I mean, they got in foul trouble. They had 3 guys with 4 or greater fouls. Monroe looks like he fouled out. So great job. This is really what we're going to have to do against Texas San Antonio. They did out-rebound us a little bit. Turnovers, more for them. So defensively, we were solid. That's what we need to see. Now, I'm going to look at the scouting report. I would be willing to bet it's pretty uneven. 58-42, actually about the same. Again, they've got the advantage at center, but for once we have the advantage on the bench. So maybe I was a little bit wrong on that. If you look at how they're playing, they score a lot more, obviously. They give up a few more points per game, but their field goal percentage is really high, 50 for the year. Free throws, not as much. Rebounds, a little bit of an advantage. I think we're going to have to get that kind of a shooting performance or hold them to that kind of a shooting performance that we did with North Texas to have a chance here. I want to look at how that game went against us, because that was the only game we played against them, and they won 68-57. So we did a good job holding them to a low scoring. They didn't shoot as good as they usually do. So I think if we can do this and then, improve our shooting, maybe with Callaway, maybe with him playing a little bit better, he might be a difference here. But this could be big, because then it goes to Old Dominion or Middle Tennessee, and I feel a little bit better about those two. It looks like UTEP got knocked out pretty early. Whew. All right, so enough anxiety here. Let's go ahead and get it done. And we're going to be knocked out. So that's how the season ends, but much better ending than I was expecting after that start. 14-17 record. And it's going to be Old Dominion and Texas San Antonio for the final. 81-74. We did score quite a bit. They're just a good shooting team in this conference, and you can see, we held them to 43%, 66 from the free throw line. They had a few more free 3-pointers than we did. Out rebounded us. They're outside of Eldridge, I guess, who's their power forward. They are, well, maybe he's their power forward. They had some really balanced scoring. Good play from Quarles off the bench. For us, Horton, finished up really strong. 9 rebounds, 17 points. He gave us 30 minutes, although he had 4 fouls. And then Rose with 14. Y good off the bench. Brooks even looked pretty good coming off the bench, but just wasn't enough. We even had the kind of shooting performance that I was hoping to see. 46%. We got a lot of good attempts. Looked pretty good in 3-pointers, but just outmatched by this team. So let's finish up here. So this, this is for the tournament as well. I mean, who's going to make it? I saw the screen blip really quick, but I didn't see who won. So I'm gonna look at it from the tournament side here, and it's gonna be Old Dominion. So, despite a great record, Texas San Antonio. Look at that. I think they finished with the best record. Yeah, 25-7. They're going out to Old Dominion. Old Dominion finished strong, 5 straight wins. They were 12-6 in conference, so they'll be probably the only representatives. Although, when I was looking at the history of this conference, there were a few times, 2 or 3 times, I think, in the Final Four tournament where 2 teams came from this conference. So Texas San Antonio may have a chance to get kind of an at-large bid there. But in terms of the rest of the tournament, I think the big... Yeah, Middle Tennessee knocked off Texas El Paso, so that was a big upset there, and they finished a little bit better too. They're probably like us. When I looked at their schedule, they had a tough non-conference schedule, really set them back, but they finished strong. They may be a team to look for as we go along. Let's see. Well, no, they have. I'm looking here. They've got several seniors leaving next year. They got some depth at center, maybe small forward. They got some returners at point guard, but they're not going to be if you look at their ratings, I mean, they're kind of balanced about like we are. 2 and 2.5 and 3-star players is about the best they've got. So let's go ahead and finish this week, and we'll take a look at some of the other conference. Let's see, where are we? Saturday. So we'll take a look at some of the other conference winners, and then we'll go right into that Final Four selection. Cincinnati, a strong year from them, 25-6. I don't know if that's the final. Probably not the final, but... in the conference for them in their conference tournament. So the brackets are set. But let's I'm going to take a look at the tournaments here. Let's go look at some of the big ones for the most part. So let's look at the ACC. Looks like we still got Miami, Boston College to play for the tournament there. Let me just sim the day here to get through that one. And I'm hoping that we're going to get some recruiting. Yeah, that's the selection show, but what's the recruiting looking like? We've only got a verbal. Scare me for a little bit. I was looking at the wrong thing here. So signed and 2 verbals. So we still need to get that from them. Larry Stewart finished strong as well. You can see he went up in several ratings there. John Martin didn't finish as strong, but he's a 3-star recruit still. Grant McCleary finished strong again. Regionally, he's the 12th best shooting guard coming out of high school. Let me go back to... I can't do it. I don't think I can do it from here. It won't let me look at the tournament champions, I don't think. From here. No, here it is. No. Gosh, how do I get to the tournaments from here? I've had this problem seems like every time. I want to look at the scores. And for some reason, once it advances, I mean, could I go here and... Nah, I can't do it from there. It wants to go to that selection show, and I was wanting to see the grid of games, and I may not be able to do it from here. All right, well, let's look at the polls. So we've got Villanova, Kansas, Kentucky, Butler pretty high this year, Arkansas. A lot of teams we see a lot. Boston College I'm ranked pretty high. St. Mary's up there pretty high, even though they didn't have a great record in terms of like the bubble watch. I guess it's not going to happen here. Is that the deal? Because we're in this. I guess we're just going to have to go to the selection. I was hoping to see how those tournaments went. I usually skip this just for time purposes, but it's kind of cool to go through and especially if you've got a favorite team or your team is expecting to be there, it's good to go through and so kind of see where the matchups are. But I think now I can go back to the tournaments and yeah, so it was Boston College over Miami in the ACC, America East, Stony Brook, let's see, Big East. Butler beat Villanova. That's going to get them ranked pretty high. Big 12 went to Kansas, just humiliated Oklahoma State. Then the Big 10, let's see how our old team did. Penn State knocked out really early. Michigan State beats Michigan for the final there. That's a good one. Big West, is that where... No, I always forget where Gonzaga is located. But let's keep moving down the list here. Let's see, the OVC, our old team, Austin Peay, knocked out early. Tennessee Tech, they've become a pretty decent program in that tournament. Or in that conference they're going to be in. Pac-12, Arizona over Southern California. I don't think I've seen Southern California that high lately. SEC tournament. Arkansas big over Kentucky. Arkansas is having a good run in this tournament or in this playthrough, going back all through the 6 seasons. And I think it's the SWAC. No, again, was it here? Yeah, Gonzaga. They were knocked out by St. Mary's. Brigham Young, the number 1 seed there, they win it. So I think we're going to go to the Final Four tournament here and see how the brackets are lining up. We'll go through sim through the play-in games here to get ahead of it and go through all the different regions. All right, so here we go. Philadelphia region. You got Villanova, the top seed there. Tennessee Tech, Michigan, from some of our old conferences in this region. Arkansas, the 2nd seed. I don't see the Conference USA in that region. In Lexington, you got Kansas, number 1. Tennessee in that region at 12. Cincinnati, 4th. Kentucky, 2nd. St. Mary's, 6th. They got a pretty good seed. And then in New Orleans, you got Butler, the top seed. Ohio State coming out of the Big Ten. Duke, 5th in this one. Boston College, 2nd. Old Dominion, they're coming in at 11th. So they're the 11th seed in this one. Maryland, old Big Ten competition there, they're 3rd. And then Oakland region, you got Michigan State top. Davidson, Purdue, Arizona, the 2nd seed. Gonzaga, just a 6th seed. So that's it. Now, if I look at, I don't know if there were any play-in games among some of the... I just want to see, like, the games grid. Texas El Paso looks like they're going to be in a so Hampton, Texas El Paso, that's probably the NIT tournament. Texas San Antonio, was this a play-in? Southern Miss, also from the Conference USA. I'll tell you what, let me take a look at the tournaments here. So NIT, yeah, you got Texas San Antonio. They made it there. From the East region, Texas El Paso, Texas San Antonio, both made it from our conference. So that's pretty good. And then the WOL tournament is another one. Preseason tournament or postseason tournament. I'm not seeing, well, Southern Miss. Looks like Southern Miss made it to that tournament. Wow. I guess it was because of their final record. So, we got 4 teams in a postseason tournament out of this conference. So I guess that's not terrible. But I think I'm just going to go ahead, if we got time here, and go through the full tournament. Let's. I don't think it'll take too long to do. All right, so first round of games, Villanova easily wins. Oregon, kind of an upset, 9-8 there in the seeding. Michigan wins over Tennessee Tech pretty easily. Brigham Young, a big winner. Arkansas, Northern Iowa, close game there between San Diego State and Utah State. And then Southern California, no real upsets in that region. And then in the Lexington region, Kansas big. Indiana, Tennessee an upset, 12-5, and then Cincinnati won. Kentucky wins easy. Iowa wins easy. St. Mary's, Pittsburgh. So far, the biggest upset is that 12-seed Tennessee. Let's go to the New Orleans region. And let's see, Butler wins pretty easily over St. Peter's. Ohio State in easily. Duke, close game, but they're in. Illinois wins, so no upsets whatsoever in this region. Boston College, easy win. Florida State close over Marquette. Connecticut close over Old Dominion. So, they made a pretty good showing, but Conference USA's out. But look at this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right down the line. One upset here in this region, kind of a 10-seat Wichita State, but Michigan State wins. Alabama, Davidson, Purdue, close though with Purdue, just a 2-point game. Arizona, Wichita State, 1-point game over Washington. Close games for the most part here, except for that North Carolina State. So now we'll go back through and go through the second round. Tennessee's out right away to Cincinnati, but they did advance to 32. I don't know how you say that. Is it a round of 32? Is it regardless? They did get a win. So Philadelphia region, Villanova easily over Oregon, Michigan over Brigham Young, and then Arkansas pretty easily over Northern Iowa. Southern California, they must have a pretty good program going there. 92-75. So not too many upsets. 1, 2, 3, 5 there. And then Lexington, you got Kansas easily over Indiana, like 23-point win. Cincinnati beats Texas or Tennessee, Kentucky easily over Iowa. Pittsburgh really easily over St. Mary's. So let's go to the New Orleans region. And we've got Butler out of it. Ohio State, who were not that strong of a program when we were at Penn State, but they advanced to the Sweet 16. Big win over Butler. Duke loses to Illinois. Boston College beats Florida State. Maryland beats Connecticut. So if you're counting, this is an all Big Ten final out of this region. All 4 teams. No, wait, sorry. Boston College is not. They're in the ACC. Gosh. They're either in the ACC or the Big East, maybe. Nope, I was wrong. I think they're in their ACC. But look at that showing for the Big Ten. That was a pretty rough. That was a pretty rough seeding, I guess. But Illinois, Maryland. And let me go back to see. Ohio State. Ohio State. That's surprising me. How did they finish? I mean, 10-10 in conference, 24-11 overall. Wow, they were not even ranked going into the tournament. So a big surprise there from that region. And then Oakland, you got Michigan State, Purdue, 2 more Big Ten teams, Arizona and North Carolina State. So that's a 1, 2, 3, 4 final for that region. 8, Ohio State. They another 1, 2, 3, 4. They are the only remaining Cinderella team. So that's for what it's worth. That's kind of surprising to see it play out like that. So we get here to the Sweet 16 games, and then I think if we got time, we'll take a look at some of these other tournaments. Ooh, that's a big game from the NIT and WL, the ones that I didn't really change the name to on those postseason tournaments. So let's get started. We got really good matchups here. Pittsburgh beats Kentucky. I see that already. So we got Villanova huge over Michigan, Arkansas over Southern California. So you got 1 and 2 from the East region. Or Philadelphia, and then in Lexington, Kansas, and Pittsburgh. So Pittsburgh kind of an upset over Kentucky. So you got 1 and 3 in that one. Then moving ahead, this is going to be. I would like to see Ohio State make it. That would be kind of interesting. But it's not going to happen. Illinois and Boston College in this final. So, 1 Big Ten team left in that region, and that might be all that's going to be left. Nope. Michigan State prevails over Purdue, and then Arizona, close one, but they lose to North Carolina State. So, Elite 8 decided. And now Kansas, they have been just in the 7 seasons now that I've been doing this playthrough. Kansas is strong every single year. I mean, they've definitely, Kansas in real life, they're one of those teams that are always expected to do well. And some seasons they don't get there, but this season, in this playthrough, they have been a really good team every year. Philadelphia region, Villanova, number 1 seed, gets by Arkansas. Now Kansas pretty easy win, 86-78. So now Illinois, Boston College. So it's going to be Michigan State from the Big Ten, and it's going to be Illinois. So once again, that kind of shows you what I was up against with that Penn State team. That is such a competitive conference. So we've got Michigan State easily over North Carolina State. Final Four is going to be 3 number 1 seeds and a 4 in Illinois, but 2 teams from that Big Ten conference. Some other tournaments still going on with some pretty decent teams. I mean, that's my wish, is that we get to the point where we are, competitive enough to make some of those postseason tournaments every year, and then occasionally, make to the Final Four. But I'm kind of determined to stick with this UAB team a little bit longer than I stuck with either Austin Peay or Penn State. So here we go. If I'm predicting, and it's really going to be hard to predict because I haven't seen either of these teams throughout the season, but I'm going to say it's going to be Kansas, Michigan State. So Michigan State for sure, pretty easily beat Illinois, but a good showing from Illinois and from that Big Ten all the way around. And Villanova, so I was wrong. Villanova, Michigan State. Villanova, only 1 loss for the season. So here we go. Championship goes to Villanova. 40-1 on the season. That's just incredible. That's just an incredible thing to do, I think, to accomplish. I mean, even in the game itself, but certainly in real life that would be tough to accomplish, but just to go through a 41 season, 41 games and only lose 1, that's amazing. So well deserved for them. And we're going to have our association awards, but before I do that, I wanted to look at some of these other tournaments that some of our teams were involved in. So we got so this is the CIT. Southern Miss, they made it to, they won a game there, so not a bad showing. CHI tournament, we didn't have anybody, I don't think, in this one. And it looks like it went to Hawaii over Louisiana State. And then NIT tournament, Texas El Paso made it pretty far. Texas San Antonio made it pretty far. But so Texas El Paso won the East region. And South region went to Kent State. Texas San Antonio won the West region. So from the NIT, 2 teams from the Conference USA made it to the Final Four, but it went to Iona as the tournament winner. So we'll go ahead and advance, and this will probably be the last thing we do here. In terms of the association winners, this will give you kind of a... Mostly it'll give you the award winners from all of NCAA, but it's we can take a look at some of our conferences, how they went. Let me just look and see if there was anything. The Big Ten, anybody I recognize here? Nah, not much. So first team all conference, your same players. Nobody from Penn State. And then Conference USA, let's go to individual awards. Bill Johnson, Player of the Year, center out of Southern Miss. Brad Stokes, Defensive Player of the Year. Freshman of the Year from Texas El Paso. Kevin Smith, Coach of the Year at Texas San Antonio. First team all conference. Southern Miss had a couple good players showing up there, so they may have just had a tough year record wise, but they have maybe a pretty good team, and we had no one showing up on those on the final awards there, unfortunately. So now we're going to go to the off season and get ready for next year. I'm going to press forward. I think, if we get those guys that we've recruited, I'll feel pretty happy about that. Wasn't a bad finish to the year. Next year, big focus. I'm going to kind of stay with the offensive sets. I might adjust it a little bit, but we had enough success with it that I'm going to stick with it. But I'm also going to try to get a few more of the young players. Looking ahead one more season anyway. Depends on how they come to the team. But those recruits, I want them to take over and get some play time. And, if they're good enough to start anyway. And then I think that'll help me out, say 2 years from now. So the coaching jobs are available. Where is the recruiting? Let me just take a look at that before we leave here. So assigned, a verbal, and a verbal. I don't think that should change. I mean, we're still number one schools for all of these guys. I do like the way Grant McCleary finished up. We could use a good, strong shooting guard. His outside shooting and free throw shooting and scoring are B. So this guy could hopefully take over and give us that. And I think that would be one thing that we're definitely missing on this team. But one last thing I'll look at, and then we'll call this episode done. Season review. We didn't make it to the NIT tournament. We did succeed in terms of the conference record. They're still wanting to see us move up, and unfortunately, our school prestige went down. My guess is, my job security took a little bit of a dive, but not too bad. Penn State, it was down 20% or something like that. It was really low. So I think we can improve that going into next season. That's going to do it for this episode. Appreciate you guys watching, commenting, liking, subscribing. I'll probably go through some off-season stuff, get to the point where maybe I'm at a point where I'm working on recruiting for next year, got a good idea of what the new recruits look like on this team and what kind of mix I'm going to have for the lineups and depth charts, and then we'll take it from there. Thanks for watching.